Hi there, I'm Square, and let's talk about anime. This week we have episode 8 of Yashahime, and this episode is full of clues and hints and reveals. A lot happened in this episode, but I'll try my best to summarize. So we jump back in with Yotsume trying to escape from the girls. Setsuna and Moroha run ahead while Towa has trouble keeping up. She ends up bribing Takachio into giving her a ride so she could catch up with the other two. We then switch over to the perspective of Jubei. He's fishing and then greets Lord Riku as he arrives by boat. We discover that not only do they know each other, and it seems have known each other, but it also seems like Riku's the one that has been putting out those bounties on the 4 perils and essentially hiring the girls. They have a little conversation where Riku speaks of his interest in Towa and mentions that he knows she's Sesshomaru's daughter, showing us he knows a bit more about her than any of the girls seem to know of him. Jubei suggests hiring the 3 princesses to take out the rest of the 4 perils. Riku mentions almost offhandedly that he never liked the 4 perils, giving us another hint at his history. But it does seem like Riku is going to use the girls to collect the pearls for him, this time hinting at some future plan for when he catches them all. Back at Yotsume, we see that he's been given a pearl by Kyuki, which he promptly ingests, amplifying his own powers. He's able to put Moroha, Takachio, and Towa in a dream state in order to find their weaknesses. And this is where we get even more clues and reveals. Moroha dreams of Miroku dropping off a young Takachio with Jubei. There is talk of Hachi, the tanuki from the original Inuyasha series and a companion of Miroku, and the dream ends with Jubei hinting at Takachio's rank, but saying if he takes him in, he can't treat him special. He'll have to put him to work. Takachio dreams of Inuyasha and Kagome with an infant Moroha. Inuyasha is posed to defend from what it looks like are Kirinmaru and Sesshomaru silently approaching. We then have a heartbreaking moment where Kagome gives Moroha the rouge that was originally Inuyasha's mother's, before she gives a crying Moroha to Hachi to quickly get her away from there, before the couple turns to face the approaching, imposing foes. Last, we see Towa's dreams of Rin in the tree, where it seems like she's being kept alive or maybe kept asleep by the dream butterfly. The dream butterfly, which seems to be taking energy from Setsuna, who can no longer sleep or dream, seems to be transferring that energy to Rin in the tree. In the waking world, we see Setsuna is able to take out Yotsume with barely any trouble and wakes the other girls. All of them then confront Kyuki, but Kyuki is able to absorb demon power and quickly weakens Moroha and Towa, leaving Setsuna to face Kyuki alone. While hiding away, Moroha points out Towa's ability of being able to absorb power herself, and Towa charges into the fight. Towa is able to absorb power from Kyuki's pearl, but isn't able to summon enough resolve to deliver a final blow. It's not until Setsuna is hurt that Towa's fighting spirit is strong enough for her to truly fight, and she's able to take out Kyuki. This whole time, Riku was watching in interest, especially focusing on Towa. He takes Kyuki's pearl and just ends her completely. We end the episode after Riku introduces himself to the girls and walks off with another pearl. So I have a lot of thoughts about this episode. A lot has happened. There's a lot I want to talk about. Let's see how much I could put in a video. So Riku is becoming more and more interesting. I have seen a few fan theories, some that overlap with some of my thoughts from the previous episode of him being a Kirinmaru's son, or perhaps even a part of Kirinmaru himself. And I think as a community, we're on to something. Riku is definitely important and special, and very powerful and probably dangerous. He's fully planning on using the girls to basically collect the pearls for him so he can... We don't know. But one thing that really stood out to me in all this is Riku said pretty simply, he only kills who he loves. And that feels super significant. I bet this is going to pop up again later. And has me thinking even more about his apparent interest in Toa and what that might mean in the future. There's a lot more going on too, talking about those dreams. That's the main focus. Honestly, like I can't stop thinking about it. One of the easier ones to talk about, should I say, is the one Moroha seemed to have of Takachio. Kind of hinting that maybe Moroha and Takachio swapped memories. I don't know why she'd dream of him. Maybe it's a contact thing. With Takachio being dropped off at Jubei, giving the impression Jubei is very important to all of this that's going on. And seems like he raised Takachio, and perhaps he was the one that raised Moroha. Maybe that's what she needs to pay him back for. But the fact that when Miroku dropped off Takachio, we didn't really hear anything from him and didn't even see his face. And there was talks of Hachi. It makes me think that might not be Miroku. That might be Hachi. And that would not be unheard of from Tanuki and from Hachi himself. And it makes me think of the other times that we have seen Miroku in these flashbacks so far, when he's talked to Setsuna and things like that, and there's talks of this monk wandering around alone, which never really made sense. There's no reason for Miroku to be alone. He has a wife and children and friends, just a lot going on. So unless that's hinting at something much more tragic happening, this Miroku we're hearing about walking around everywhere might not be him. When we talk about Takachio's dream, that honestly was probably Moroha's, heartbreaking, simply heartbreaking. To see Kagome and Inuyasha sending their baby away as they faced, well, it would have to be a lot, right? To send away your own baby. It wasn't just a dropping the kids off at a babysitter kind of moment. It seemed like a forever goodbye. Like the two felt like they were facing death and stayed behind so that Moroha had a chance of escaping. I honestly, I couldn't help but tear up at that scene. It was intense. And I've seen that the fan reaction to it is a bit polarizing. Of course, there's very strong feelings about the outcomes of Inuyasha and Kagome. As fans of the series, most of us are very attached to these characters. And if it comes out that they've perished in such a way, that would be, I don't even know. I don't have words. But on the other end, some fans are very upset at the thought that at this point in the story, it would be Sesshomaru that would do this. That Sesshomaru could just murder his brother's wife, and even their infant child in cold blood. A lot of Seshi stans argue that his character development, this isn't something he would do. And I can see where they're coming from. And thinking about it more, at the same time, Kirin was there. And from what we've learned so far, it seems like the demon lords of the West and East have been battling for a while now. Would they just team up like this? Most of the dream was shrouded in shadow. We didn't see faces of everyone. We didn't hear anything from the apparent foes. We could hardly see the location. It was all very dreamlike, and that's where my mind is attaching to. Just a thought. But I don't know if we should take the dream literally, or any of the dreams we saw for that matter. There are many ways dreams could be interpreted through symbolism, and we may be seeing some of that here. For example, you may have a dream where you're romantic with a friend. That doesn't necessarily mean you're in love with your friend. It could, but it could also mean you're seeking comfort from them. Something like a hug or a kiss is a very primal and base way of showing intimacy and care between people. Some say that's how our dreams interpret things, in this very base way. So it has me thinking a similar thing may be happening here. What do Kirin and Sesshomaru represent? Well, I'd say it's their destinies. The struggle between the East and West demon kingdoms, the responsibility they're expected to take on, or tragedy can occur, not just for them, but also across the land. So, would Sesshomaru and Kirinmaru team up? Honestly, it's hard to say, but from what we've seen so far of Kirinmaru, it seems like he's seeking out power for himself. And of Sesshomaru, he's rejecting his title altogether. Their goals don't seem like a likely overlap. They don't seem like a natural pair. So perhaps it wasn't literally them attacking Inuyasha and Kagome, but the result of their actions or inactions that led to this. Maybe an emboldened army of demons came to attack the pair, or perhaps a curse has come and just taken over. It's hard to say, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility. Especially when we consider the last stream, which was Toa's, where we see Rin. I think it's pretty much decided it's Rin at this point. There was an interview, correct me if I'm wrong, who's in the tree and seems to be absorbing power from the dream butterfly. She appears to be in the stasis coma, perhaps a curse? It makes me wonder if this is the result of everything happening between Sesshomaru and Kirinmaru. And perhaps, since Kagome and Inuyasha are connected to them, they've met a similar fate. Time will tell, I suppose. But I, for one, am trying to keep an open mind, especially since I'm really enjoying these fan theories. I can't remember the last time I was so involved in a community, and I'm really loving the community altogether, and just even being able to play a small part of it is such a highlight of my week. So thank you everyone for contributing to my week's highlights. If you would like to join me again, which I would very much love and appreciate, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, follow me elsewhere. I'd love to have you, and have an artsy day.